but it's rather a storm out here. And well, as you can see, I'm covered in snow already. And taking you out here, I'm going to set up an emergency shelter in this. And see how it actually works. The emergency blanket shelter, I'm going to try that out. I'll show you when I get into the woods and find a place where there's not as much wind. You can see, you know, the trees are swaying. It's windy out here. Probably hear it also. I'm going to try to find a decent spot out here in this, and I'll get back to you. I'm back. It's still, you know, if you can see those trees, they're just swaying. You know, it's, yeah, you can see that. What I did is I came down amongst all these little fir trees, as you can see, all the way around. That's going to block some of the wind. And it's not as windy here right now anyhow. And what I did is I stomped this down right along here. That's where I'm going to lay my shelter, make my shelter. The only problem is I've got this here, emergency camp shelter. And as you can see, it's a space blanket. Lightweight, compact, and so on. Well, anyway, here it is right here. I have folded this out, and this is like 8 feet by 5 feet, but it's a tube, so it's basically, it's folded over, so it's actually 8 by 10, you know, and but it's a tube. So I'm going to set this up, and there's a couple ways you could do it. I'm going to, they have it set up as a A-frame here. You know, the standard A-frame. I don't like that because of one end's open. I'm going to close one end because I don't want, you know, wind coming in through. I want to keep in as much body heat as I can. The only problem is I didn't bring nothing. This is supposed to be an emergency situation. That's why you have this. I do not have a sleep pad. So the only way you could do this is start tipping, you know, break the tips off, the boughs off of these trees, shake out as much snow as you can, and pile, you know, all along where you're going to put your shelter, because they're wet. You don't want to put them inside your shelter. You're going to have to set your shelter on top of them. And but you know, this here is like a paper or a chip bag. It rips easy, so you really have to be really careful. You know, this is probably a one-time use. If you put a bunch of boughs on the ground, they're probably gonna rip it, you know, in places. Will it get you through the night? Probably so, but it's gonna be useless. I'm gonna just throw it on the ground here. I don't wanna, I'm kind of hoping to save it, not rip it all to heck, but I'm gonna see what I can make out of it, and I'll get back to you once I make something out of it. So, like I said, I'll get back to you when I have something. Okay, I just set up the shelter. I want to show you real quick. It's I've got a log here and a piece of log there that I broke off. I don't have no knife, I don't have no hatchet, machete, nothing. This is just a dead tree there that I had broken down and smacked against another tree to break it into these lengths, so I have something to hold my tarp out. But if you look inside, you know, it's we've got lots of room. I can slide right in there, no problem. You can see this is 8 feet long. It's you know, so it's fairly big. What I did with this end, instead of making it into an A-frame, is, oh, it's already getting covered in snow, is I put this elastic around this end, and it totally closes this end in. And that's what I wanted. I wanted this closed in, and so when I got in it or whatever, I wouldn't have any problems with you know, wind coming from the other end. It'd basically be like a bivy bag in a way, but with a ridge line through it, just to hold it off. So you don't want emergency blanket to touch you itself, because I have noticed that convection will go through that. If it's cold and it touches you, you feel the cold through it. So with that like that, you know, it actually, you know, you would get in there or whatever. You probably pull those sides in a little bit or whatever, just so you're not getting as much air. But that way there, it will keep the wind off of you. It'll keep you dry. But you need something underneath you, even a sleeping pad. But who brings a sleeping pad in an emergency situation, really? That's why I didn't bring one. Like I said, you could use the fur, you know, the snow-covered fir boughs, but they'd be wet, so you put them down first, then put your shelter on top of that. But I think little holes would get into it, which would tear eventually, and it's a one-time use. I'm going to show you another shelter that you could use this just for not sleeping, but to warm up and just stay out of the cold and wet, and then go again. I'm going to set that up real quick, and I'll get back to you. I'm back. Now, this may look a little goofy or whatever, but I'll show you in a second. I've got this just tied closed to this end. The open end's down there. I've got this tree, so you can see it leans back. And I've got about 6 inches of fir boughs underneath me there. I've knocked off the snow. And I'll show you how this works in a second, but I'm going to show you. I don't know if you can see up there. You just see the very top of a spruce tree. I heard a great big crunch. Come check this out. This is how close I was to this tree. This whole thing right here, this just came crashing down off of that tree up there. It just all of a sudden heard crunch, smash. Yeah, it just came down and smashed, and kind of an eye-opener. You know, you're out here and such, and you know, that's only, well, I'm here, and if you go here, you can see my bag over there, and you know, that's how close that was when it fell. These high winds in trees, like you can see, you know, you got to be really, really, you know, you don't really want to be out here actually, unless you have to. So I'm going to get in this here, and so how I'm going to do that is I'm just going to pull it over top me as soon as I get my gloves off here so I can work. Open her up. Bear with me. I'll walk right inside. Put it right down by my feet. There we go. And then I'm going to come over to my pile here. Make sure this is under my butt. And I'm going to sit down. And then, look at this. I have a nice airspace. It's, I've got the tree where my back is. My back is leaning right against this tree. The fir boughs are keeping me off the cold ground, and I have enough air under that I'm not going to, you know, suffocate. And I can sit right here, just like this, and no wind. I have the reflectant of the mylar, and I could easily, you know, I could easily even sleep here, you know, if you're one to be able to, you know, sleep sitting up, you could sleep like this. And of course all the rattling. But yeah, this here is really good. See, I got it just tied up there. I'm not getting no air, you know, tied down by my feet kind of thing, and that's just, you know, normal. I gotta be able to breathe, right? So you want to leave it like that, but I'm sitting on it, leaning against the tree. You know, if you wanted to, you could put some fir boughs against the tree also. I'm not feeling any cold from the tree right now, and but if you was concerned about that, you could lean a couple against the tree or whatever. But Well, if you wanted to sit down and rest and keep out of the rain and snow and the wind for a while before you strike back out, you could leave this right in this type of setup, and you could go to the next tree. You know, go to another tree and you know, walk for a while in the direction you need to go, and just hook it onto a limb, you know, again, and you can sit back down, you know, do the same thing. Only takes 5 minutes to make this shelter.